Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode of the Crawley Town Supporters Alliance Simply Reds podcast. My name is Reuben and as always I'm joined by Louie. You doing alright, Louie?
Good evening, Reuben. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, all good. How are you doing?
Yeah, football aside, I'm doing alright. If we
Yeah, I
throw
think if we
football
can...
into the mix, horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, this week is going to be probably one of the longest weeks of our lives.
Yeah.
We'll constantly just be checking the table, seeing how we stay up, see what magic needs to happen on Saturday. But yeah, it's going to be a horrible week.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really long, horrible... Every time I think about the Salford game, I feel a little bit sick. And that feeling's only going to get worse. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to get through it, really.
Yeah, I know. On the positive side, we did work out that this is our 70th Simply Reds podcast. Quite a contrast in feelings compared to our first season, where we were very much all on a high. And probably about this time last year, we were probably looking forward and having a game. Who is it against? Grimsby. That mattered, but mattered for a more positive reason because it meant we'd get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so for probably the second season in a row, for the final home game of the season, we're talking about a game that means a lot, and probably the biggest Crawley game ever.
Yeah, it's certainly in recent years. Yeah, if you take again, I mean, kind of repeating myself from last time we recorded, but you take away Wembley in the playoffs and Old Trafford. This is absolutely everything, and God, it doesn't make me feel any better talking about it. I've got to be honest, it's dropping out the Football League would just be the implications, the knock-on effects of it would... Struggling to put it into words, actually, which isn't ideal for a podcast, I'll admit. But it would be a disaster, and I'm not one to kind of overblow things or try and stay as rational as possible. But it would be a disaster, financially, in terms of on the pitch stuff as well, obviously. But the long-term future of the club, let alone the short-term, we'd never come back into the Football League. I think you could safely say that. Look at the size of the clubs that get stuck down in the National League. Look at the size of clubs who drop down into the National League South or North. It would be pretty... It'd be the end of... Not the end of Crawley, but it'd be the end of the club as we have come to know it as a Football League club. The size of the operation, the feeling around the club, fans, the attendances that have really picked up over the last few years, all the infrastructure that's been put in place and improved, it would all be for nothing, really. So it goes without saying, it not to make anyone more nervous or anything like that, but it would be just, it's unfathomable that we go down. We're an established Football League club now. We've been in the Football League. I think this is our 16th season.
Yeah,
15th season. 2011. Yeah, so this is our 15th season, and we shouldn't be in this position. As the size of the club goes, we know we're a small club. We know we're far from the biggest club in this division, let alone when we were in League One last season. We know that we're operating probably a little bit beyond our means. Probably we are competing with clubs with bigger resources and bigger budgets and everything, but we are an established enough club with enough experience in the Football League to have not been in this position. No one expected this coming down last season. I think anyone who expected us to be challenging at the top was probably a little bit naive. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
I don't particularly want to look back at our season preview to see what my prediction was.
I don't know what I was saying. I think, but I do remember, teams that come down from League One do struggle. There's enough evidence. very, very few teams even finish in the top half of League Two when they come down from League One. So it was always going to be a bit of a dogfight in the sense that we shouldn't be in a relegation fight, but it was always going to be a bit of a scrap to kind of just get a level footing and be competitive in League Two and be even close to challenging for the playoffs or challenging for the automatics, like we all a lot of people probably expected. But to be where we are with relegation on the line, going into the final day isn't really acceptable. And regardless of the outcome on Saturday, and we're all obviously hoping that we do the business, that we stay up, and that we can kind of consolidate over the summer. But there needs to be some really hard questions asked within the club, within the by the owners, asking themselves hard questions about the recruitment, about the process that they've had or not had that's led to where we are. Because there's so many things that have gone wrong on the pitch. A lot of it's avoidable. I think a lot of it's avoidable with proper recruitment kind of process in place, a proper long-term plan in place. This was never a situation that we should have found ourselves in. So yeah, regardless of what happens on Saturday, there needs to be some really tough questions asked, and there needs to be a real period of reflection for the decision makers on in terms of the football side of things, because it hasn't been good enough. I think fans who have travelled up and down the country, spent God knows how much money and time invested in following the club this season, they've been let down repeatedly. And just because you pay your money, you're not entitled to win games, you're not entitled to points, but you are entitled to a certain standard. I think in terms of the club holding itself to a standard, I don't think that's been the case this season. And I think, hard questions need to be asked, and things need to change in the summer, regardless of what league we're in.
Yeah, 100% agree. And before we kind of look at Saturday's big game, the games around us, we'll touch on the Accrington game. Firstly, well done to every Crawley fan that went up there. Before the game, we met at the Crown, which is the pub you can literally see like the rooftop of the stadium from. And considering it's not the biggest ground, the pub was really, really close. And a lot of fans met in there to remember Travel Ken, a fan and member of staff, volunteer, you name it, he's probably done it. Well, I don't think he ever played. And he, it's just a chance on the year anniversary of his passing, for Crawley fans to get together to raise a toast. And it was a great way to be able to kind of get together for the first time that season and remember a great man that was Ken, that will forever be on the hearts of Crawley fans and everyone who knew him. And yeah, I was actually surprised to see how many people were actually travelling to Accrington. It probably didn't have and I was saying this to you earlier, Louie, have the same feeling as Hartlepool did, which I was sort of surprised about, because it was a big game. It probably is. It is probably a bigger game than Hartlepool was. And yeah, it's well supported. But I mean, for the neutral, it's a cracking game of football. For the Crawley fan, it wasn't.
For any cardiologists in the Accrington area, they probably would have been a little bit busy that evening. Great to see people raising a glass to Ken, who obviously he'll always be remembered as sort of the best of us as a Crawley fan, as someone who poured so much of his energy and time and devoted himself to various roles in the club and getting people to games. So yeah, especially fitting to see a good number of fans going up and raising a glass before the game on Saturday. And then a game that probably would have made him smile in terms of the entertainment value, if not for the actual implications and the result, and especially the defending. I think, yeah, I mean, it's for each goal, it felt avoidable. The first goal, a free header from a corner, which always just feels a little bit criminal. Second ball, ball's lumps up, we lose the duel. Malone drops off probably a little bit too much into the area. There's no need for him to go so deep inside the area. And then a shot's blocked. No one reacts to a loose ball apart from their forward who sticks it in. He sells. I can't remember. He sells a dummy and sticks it in, and it's just. That felt like especially avoidable, that second goal. And then the third goal's frustrating because they play a ball in behind. We're playing quite a deep line. They play a ball in behind still. We've got 5 players in the box against their 2 players, and they still get in behind, get a cross in, and get a shot off. And none of our players really feel like they're near the ball. So whether it's tiredness, whether it's just obviously you have to say, in terms of, you have to give some credit to the attackers. Not every goal is because of a defensive mistake. Goals happen because players make them happen as much as defenders let them happen. But it felt like at least one or 2 of those goals could have been avoided, and then you're probably looking at coming away with 3 points, which would be enough, which would see us safe. If one of those goals hadn't gone in, if we just defended one of those goals a little bit better, we'd be pretty relaxed right now. We'd be looking forward to a home game in the sunshine, last day of the season, where we can kind of hopefully move on from this season and see it off. But instead, I mean, if we're going to be positive, and I think there are obviously positives to take from the game. 100%. We were the better team. Had, got a lot of shots off, and actually took some of our chances. For once, it felt like, so many times this season we haven't taken our chances, and at least we did today. Today on Saturday. Just unfortunately not enough. It feels like a lot of time this season we've had good games going forward and let ourselves down defensively. And when we tightened up defensively, we haven't actually had enough going forward. So, and that's reflected in the fact that we only won 8 games all season. We've drawn a lot of games. I think only 5 teams have drawn more games than us at this point. But yeah, we've got the fewest league wins all season. It's partly because of that. We haven't been able to get that balance right in most games this season.
Yeah, I mean, for the statisticians out there, we had 53% possession, expected goals of 1.94 compared to their 0.49. We had 14 shots compared to their 6. We had 4 big chances compared to their 3. And so kind of on paper, we were all over them really. But defensively, I mean, their keeper made 2 saves compared to our 0, 44 clearances compared to our 33. But everyone else, we've definitely got highest on the stats. But at the end of the day, the only stat that matters is how many goals do we score? How many goals do they score?
Yeah, and I think those stats kind of sum up what I was saying a little bit. We had plenty of shots, but we were too tough defensively. It's a game where, similar to the Shrewsbury game, where we had, I think, 14 shots, some of them for some really good positions as well. We didn't take them, but we were tight enough defensively to keep a clean sheet. And it's kind of gone the opposite way. We've had plenty of shots, we've taken them, but we've given up. I mean, for Accrington to have, 6 shots and 3 of them be a big chance, and for all 3 of those to go in is, it just sums it up really. I think, encouraging signs in terms of, we were the better team. We had plenty of attacking intent. We showed a lot of character to come back into the game 3 times. One thing that we haven't done this season, we haven't won a game after going behind, which I think is pretty damning. But at the same time, you look at how many late goals we have scored to rescue a point. You think that Swindon, Chesterfield, Barnet, Accrington, that's just off the top of my head. a lot of a lot of late goals, which without those we would be down. So
And it felt like at the Accrington game, that was a game where we were getting the score and actually win it.
yeah,
Particularly
we
in the
gave
last
ourselves enough time.
5-10 minutes. What was that? I think it was 8 minutes of injury time. And
Yeah,
for most of it, we were absolutely all over them. All it took was us to put the ball in the back of the net. But
yeah,
unfortunately, things weren't going our way. But I mean, fair play to the lads for being constantly being down pretty quickly and then going to score to even the game up. Because under Scott, would we have done that? Don't know. And as you said, we've not been good in the past of kind of coming from those goals behind. And that's why, I mean, we'll touch on the game on Saturday, coming up Saturday shortly. But that's why we've got to score first.
yeah. No, I think it's not a stat that I mean, I think we must be the only team in the Football League. Probably you could extend it down to National League, maybe even National League North and South with that sort of record. I think even it's I can't there can't be many teams with that sort of record from behind, and I think it does show a bit of frailty in the sense that it feels like heads do drop. Or particularly early on in the season, it felt like if things weren't going our way, the heads would drop. If we had a good start to a game, we got a goal. You felt like we could get a result. But if we didn't, then it was a bit like, okay, we're in for a long afternoon. Like, I think like games like the Tranmere game at home, where we were playing well and conceded, and suddenly we just stopped playing. The Newport game at home around the same time of the season. Recently, it feels like there's a bit more determination in plays. Like we go a goal down, it's fine. We pick ourselves up. We'll carry on going. We have picked up some draws that way, but I mean, we've drawn so many games, as I keep saying recently, and the frustrating thing is even one of them being turning into 3 points we'd be safe right now. You think back to, I'm a bit of a broken record here, but you think back to that Chesterfield game early in the season, 2-0 up at half time, cruising. Both Walsall games where we battered them, Swindon at home where we drew, but we really should have won that game. We were by far the better team. There's so many games where we just think, and that's part of the reason why you feel like we shouldn't be here, because at times the performances this season have merited a lot more, and there's so many times we've played the team and their fans have gone, "You look all right. You'll be absolutely fine." Like, I don't know how you're down there. I don't know why you're in a relegation fight. But ultimately, it's not just about the ability of the players. It's not just about the kind of the way we're set up. Sometimes it's just about mentality, and I think that hasn't quite been there at times this season. At times, it certainly has.
I agree.
I think,
I think even at Bristol Rovers, a fan came up to me afterwards and was like, "You don't deserve to be going down. You're good enough to stay in the league." But unfortunately, as I said earlier, the only result that matters is how many goals you score compared to how many goals the opposition scores, because that's the only thing people look at. And in 2-3 seasons' time, people won't remember those games. All they will look at is a score, the league table, sorry, which is frustrating. And then, as you said, it's been the story of our season this season, been the story of our season the season before as well. And
exactly.
Hopefully on Saturday we can turn up. And before we jump into Saturday, I think it's probably just worth quickly mentioning about the statement the club put out after the game, saying that they strongly condemn the racial abuse suffered by head coach Colin Kazim Richards following this afternoon's fixture against Accrington Stanley. I know many of you probably would have watched Colin's interview after the game and thought something strange had happened because it weirdly cut midway through. It's obviously at that point where this thing happened. Of course, we don't condone any racist abuse whatsoever. And we hope that those that are found kind of guilty of it are dealt with, and yeah, racism, anything like that, is definitely has no place in football. And yeah, by the sounds of it, Accrington staff, stewards, etc., all were great there. It's just unfortunately a few fans can sometimes tarnish a whole fan base. So it's good that we are able to kind of praise the work that Accrington have done here. But of course, it should never have happened in the first place. So
Absolutely.
hopefully Colin's all right. And yeah, it's never a good way of. I mean, result aside, it was a good away day, and it's one that probably will live in Crawley fans' memories for a long time. Um, I mean, Harry McCurdy, he joined us in the away end. So did Bajrami, and Harvey Davis was there as well.
Interesting.
So yeah, so it was a good away day. And I think for a lot of Crawley fans, in a way, the football's only part of it, part of the day. A lot of the day is actually kind of meeting up with people,
Yeah.
and that kind of that social element. And yeah, at the end of the day, we all have something in common. We all support Crawley Town, which can be painful at times. But if it wasn't for Crawley, we would never have known each other. And for people, it's their life as well. Literally work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, to go watch 22 men kicking a piece of leather around a football pitch, spending all of their hard-earned earnings on it. And yeah, that's why Crawley fans and a lot of football fans are passionate. Especially right now when stuff is on the line. And Harry McCurdy mentioned it in his post-match interview. What was against Newport? The fact that, like, for him, for the club staff, for some of them, it's their jobs on the line here.
Yeah.
And so hopefully on Saturday we can put in a result. Yeah.
I think what is clear to me is that the players do get it. I think the players do get it. Like you mentioned what Harry McCurdy said after the Newport game. We talked about jobs on the line for not just the players but staff and stewards and everything, everyone involved with the club, and what it means to the fans as well. And you can see, I think you can see that you can see the players do care. I think that's one thing that I'm not necessarily going to. I don't think you can really criticise that over the last couple of months, even under Scott, towards the end of Scott's time at the club. They were, it wasn't as if they down tools. They were still clearly playing for him. They were clearly playing for each other and wanting to get results. It's just it doesn't always go your way. But yeah, in terms of things that we need to go our way and permutations on Saturday, it's actually quite simple for us at least. It's
I think somebody thinks it is.
Well, I mean, it's simple in the sense that simple is the wrong way. It's straightforward enough to understand. We need to either get a better result than Tranmere or Harrogate. So a draw will do as long as Tranmere or Harrogate lose. That it is that simple.
Or we can match Harrogate.
We could match Harrogate. I think that would also.
We've got to better Tranmere.
Yeah. So Tranmere play Grimsby, who are flying. So that's possibly, if we are to. I mean, we could just do ourselves a favour and then win comfortably 2-3-0. But that I think we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? Let's work our way from the bottom. So you've got Barrow. They're playing Newport. Even if Barrow win, I think a miracle would need to happen for them to stay up.
They'd need to overturn our goal difference by 8, which, I mean, it depends how ruthless Salford are feeling. If it gets to, Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's happened before. I mean, was it Northampton?
Yeah, Bristol Rovers v Northampton.
Yes, that was it.
Northampton put out like a youth team, or like they put out like half of their youth team. It wasn't, which I think, I can't remember who the team that Bristol Rovers overtook to finish third that season was, but I know they weren't happy about it. It wasn't wasn't the strongest Northampton team, put it that way.
Yeah.
But essentially we can reliably say, unless something absolutely ridiculous happens, we are not finishing bottom, which leaves
No.
one more team to finish above.
Then kind of moving up to 23rd, third then, sorry. Harrogate on joint points with us, but we've got a better goal difference by 4. So as long as we either match their result or we win or better their result, we'll be fine. They're playing Barnet, who don't have anything to play for now.
But are in very, very good
The
form.
only reason why I don't have anything to play for is because the 2 teams above them are playing each other, and so they can't. Barnet can't make the playoffs. However, Barnet are on a high. They beat Gillingham 6-1 at the weekend, and they will. I think they're on like an unbeaten run. Haven't lost since probably the beginning of the year. I think Christmas time maybe. And this is where I think we've been genius this season. The transfer of Shamanga to Barnet has all been coming down to this moment, and I think Scott knew this. Shamanga's going to score a goal, the winning goal for Barnet to beat Harrogate, so Crawley are safe. You've heard it here first. And if that does happen, I'm getting a Crawley shirt, putting Shamanga on the back to celebrate this great.
You don't want a Shamanga tattoo, maybe?
No, that's a bit too far at this stage.
I mean, yeah. On a more serious note, yeah, Barnet, they've won their last 4 games. They're flying. Shamanga's flying. I mean, Harrogate themselves have won the last 2, and they've won 3 of the last 5, which is why they've been able to give themselves a chance of staying up, and a good chance as well. I mean, it's just a case of, I think, and I was thinking about this yesterday. If I don't think we can go into the game playing for a draw. I don't think we will, because you simply can't rely on, oh, hold on a minute, but it's 0-0 at Harrogate v Barnet, and so right now we're drawing as well. So because Harrogate get a last minute winner, or as we've seen they did a couple of weeks ago, Newport could get a 90 plus 18th minute winner as they did on Saturday. You simply cannot rely on other teams doing the business for you, unless you get to a point where like Harrogate are 3-0 down or something, in which case you probably do kind of try and maybe see the game out for a draw. But even then, it's risky. I mean, to be fair, if Harrogate are 3-0 down, we're probably fine anyway. But point being, like we simply can't just go into the game relying on Barnet, relying on Grimsby. I mean, Grimsby, another team that are flying. They've won 4 of their last 5 as well. They are looking to wrap up a playoff place, having picked up some impressive results. You know, they went to Cambridge and won last week. They then beat Swindon at home 4-0. Before that, went to Gillingham 1-4-1. Their only loss coming against Chesterfield, who are also flying. So Grimsby, will they do us a favour? If you were looking at it from a neutral point of view, you'd probably say, well, yeah, Grimsby will beat Harrogate, but it just doesn't work like that. you simply can't rely on that. And stranger things have happened. Like, really, it's
yeah. I mean,
so Grimsby playing Tranmere, not Harrogate, but yeah, points to it's.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's going to be constantly refreshing their phone on Saturday. I think the only benefit is the fact that it's in our hands. That's probably the big difference compared to last season.
Yeah. I mean,
we just need to play football, get 1 goal in the back of the net, and then we'll be okay. As easy as that.
I mean, you make it sound so simple.
I'm quite hopeful.
I think we're all hopeful, aren't we? I think you have to go in with hope. You have to go in thinking, and we know. I mean, we went to Salford not that long ago and gave them a really good game. Again, another ridiculous game where some poor decision making and a little bit of slack defending cost us what would have been now turns out to be a really valuable point. But we know we can get them. We know We know they're a little bit soft from set pieces, and our set piece threat has dried up a lot recently. But we know they can be a little bit soft from set pieces. I mean, we know we can get in behind them and create chances and score goals. Carl Robinson teams aren't perfect. I mean, the thing is, Salford have won the most games out of anyone this season. Not even MK Dons have won as many games, but they've also lost a lot of games, which is why they're fourth and not second or first. They've lost more games than teams around them. So they've lost 15 games. Only in the top half, only Crewe and Walsall have lost more. So it kind of sums up, they don't draw many. They've drawn the least games in the league. So it kind of sums them up as a team. They can be very hit and miss, and recently they've been very, very hit. But Carl Robinson teams, they do tend to be a bit like that. They do tend to be very streaky. They go on really hot runs of form and then completely capitulate. They are vulnerable. They concede goals. They concede the most goals out of anyone in that top 4, top 5 in Newport. Sorry, Notts County have conceded the same amount of goals, but there's a reason why, despite the fact they've won so many games, they're not second or third. And the reason they're behind that top 3 is because defensively they are a bit vulnerable. You can hurt them. They do give up chances. They do give up wins. So I'd rather be playing if it's not a fixture I'm relishing. It's not a fixture that I'd want on the final day. We said that before. We didn't want to come into this game needing something, especially with the form that Salford are in. But I'd much rather. Okay, I'm not going to say much rather, but I think it's probably better to play Salford than a Cambridge or a Bromley or an MK Dons, who I think are just a little bit better at managing games. Who I think are a little bit better at. Salford will give you a lot more than a Cambridge would, for example. We've played Cambridge twice this season. They've given us barely anything. We know that they're a really good team in terms of just like suffocating you and playing to their strengths. Salford, we know we can hurt them. So that's something to try and lift the mood, something to try and inject a bit of confidence into anyone listening.
I think on the betting odds, I think we're 50-50.
Which is surprising. Yeah. I think, that is surprising. I can't lie. I did think Salford would be going into the game relatively comfortable favourites. It's. I wouldn't want to put money on it either way, because I just think football's such a weird game. Last day of the season, strange things happen, especially in games like this where you've got a team needing a result to stay up and a team needing a result to get promoted automatically. It's not going to be a normal game. This isn't going to be like the same game that it would be in the middle of the season. This is going to be a game where a lot of those tactics don't go out the window, but a lot of that that desperation is you've got 90 minutes to save your season. And put everything into it. You've kind of got to leave everything out there. You cannot come off the pitch thinking, oh well, there isn't a next week. You can't come off the pitch thinking, all right, well, we drew today, but there's always next week to get a win, and kind of make things seem that this is it.
And maybe actually that's helpful that we do have to win it.
Yeah, there's no equivocations really. It's just a case of go out there and do the business. And
yeah, and as long as we can win it, I know we can draw, but we've got to then rely on other results. But if we can win it, we know that we're in the best position possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a very, very intense Saturday. I'm absolutely gutted I'm not there. I'm on call in my day job, and I tried to get a replacement, but nobody would have it. So I'll be watching from home legally, because even though it's 3 p.m. I think it's because it's final game of the season.
I think you're correct. Yeah,
it's on
be on the Sky
TV.
Sports Plus. Yeah. I think I don't know what would be worse, being there and feeling the tension in the ground, or watching on TV. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've got to a point in the season where so much has happened and it's been so stressful, and I'm so nervous. Like, I've got more and more nervous as we've been talking over the last few minutes about the Salford game. But I just don't know what to think. I'm struggling to form kind of like proper sentences and proper thoughts in my head. Like, it is just, I don't think I was nowhere near this nervous for the playoffs, for example. Not even the final against Crew.
Yeah.
I don't think I was excited, but I don't think I was nervous, because ultimately, if we'd have gone to Wembley and lost, we all would have been gutted, but we still would have had a great season with great memories, and we still would be a Football League club with a bright future, and a great manager. But this is just, there's so much to lose, and there's almost nothing to gain in a way. Like, this is very much a situation. Yeah, we've got everything to lose, as does every other team around us, and it's going to be a roller coaster. I think if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's going to be a real roller coaster of emotions, and I hope there's some defibrillators ready. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Whilst I'm hopeful for Saturday, I'm also scared. Because, as you said, like, this is, whilst getting relegated from League One to League Two was bad. I think this is absolutely huge if we get relegated, and that's what I'm more scared about. The kind of the future of the club. But yeah, I think whilst everyone's got that in the back of their minds, the biggest, even if we're 2-0 down on Saturday, the biggest thing we can do is support the players. No matter kind of your thoughts on the players, on the manager, on decisions that have been made, we've just got to give our full support. What you do after the final whistle has gone, whatever. But for that 90 minutes, it's that cheering on the players, and kind of giving them, being that typical 12th man or 12th person, on the pitch. And yeah, let's just hope we can get the biggest 3 points of Crawley Town history this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. I think, like you say, regardless of, this is bigger than any one of our own opinions on players, manager decisions. This is, if you don't rate a certain player, no one cares. It doesn't matter at this point. For 90 minutes, it does not matter. If you don't rate someone, but they give the ball away, you get behind them. If they're chasing the ball down and they win a corner, you get behind them. If they win a tackle, you get behind them. It's that simple. It just needs to be that way. It can't be any other way. We need to get behind the team as much as possible. And even if we go a goal down, obviously it matters, but there's still, stranger things have happened. If we go a goal down, it's still all to play for.
I mean, let's look what happened at the weekend. You watched Del York. That's also nothing. If we do score in the 90th minute, don't go onto the pitch.
Yeah, if we ever watch Del York situation, I genuinely think I will stop watching football, because I just think I don't think I could deal with it. Like, regardless of like which way, if it went in our favour or not, it would just.
Also, just to confirm, I do not condone running onto the football pitch. Quickly.
in your position as CTSO chair, you do.
Yeah, exactly. Do not run onto the pitch. But yeah, like,
in the interest of maintaining my being able to go to Crawley games, I also don't condone it. In case anyone from the club is listening. For God's sake, like, if you are going to go onto the pitch, and I'm not condoning it, but if you are, at least wait until the referee is definitely blowing the final whistle, and it's definitely not going to add on like 8 minutes of added time for Salford to get.
Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that anyway. Let's hope we're not in that position where
York wouldn't have gone up. I don't think had much share of gone onto the pitch.
No, it's I think you're probably right. It did make a difference, big difference. But it's just let's hope we're not in a position where, because I genuinely don't think I could take it. Like,
no.
I think I'm running out of words.
Next season, let's go mid-table. and then let's take up watching snooker.
Yeah,
Not karma.
yeah. I mean, I think I've got so many grey hairs from this season. So many. God, I don't know what sort of stress I've put my heart through watching us this season, and I know everyone else is probably feeling very, very similar. It's it's avoidable. We shouldn't have been in this position. Had we picked up one more win throughout the season, we'd be absolutely fine. And we know that one more win we will be fine. But yeah, I think we've kind of just come full circle, haven't we? It's going to be a long week. It's going to be a long 90 minutes. If this week feels long, the 90 minutes will somehow feel even longer. Because that Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon is going to whiz by. You're going to wake up. Everyone's going to wake up. You go through your usual routine. Have breakfast, walk the dog, or go for a coffee, go to the pub, or do whatever you do, and then that's all going to absolutely fly by. And then it's going to get to 3:00, and then the next 90 odd minutes are going to be just the longest. Like it's going to feel like double time.
Yeah, it will do.
It's going to feel like that last lesson at school on a Friday. That's how slow it's going to feel, but like just 10 times worse, 20 times worse. Like
last day of the lesson on a Friday before some holidays.
Yes,
Nothing beats it.
I mean, that's at least that's a nice feeling. You're excited, but this is just not excitement. This is pure dread and nerves and anxiety and any other word you can think of.
Exactly. Well, Louie,
should we do some predictions?
Oh, I'm gonna go 2-0 Crawley, just to calm my nerves.
I feel like you're saying that from the heart rather than the head.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 2-1 Salford, but I think results elsewhere will keep us up. I
think we'll win, but I also think there'll be some results as well that will help and kind of say to us actually we didn't need to win it. But I think Barnet will beat Harrogate.
Yeah, that's the one that worries me. I'm fairly confident Grimsby will do us a favour, but it's the Harrogate game because I think Harrogate there's something about them. They've picked up 3 wins in the last 5 games, whatever it is. They just seem to have that knack of getting results at them, and they've just about got that knack in time. So they're the ones that worry me and also Barnet now haven't got anything to play for. Despite the fact they're playing really well and they're in a great run of form. Yeah, I think. Maybe am I going to change my prediction? Am I going to go 2-2 and results elsewhere will keep us up? It's not going to be straightforward. It's not. It's whatever.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
I think if we stay up, it'll be results elsewhere keeping us up, which is horrible.
But yeah. Well, Louie, thanks very much for joining me.
Pleasure as always.
On potentially our last podcast, the League 2 club, which I hope it is not. I pray that it's not. And I don't think it will be.
I mean, this time next week we'll be recording. We'll be.
Yeah.
We'll and
well, Louie,
there'll be a lot to talk about either way.
100%. Well, thanks very much, Louie, for joining me this evening. Thanks everyone for listening. And for the final time this season, come on you Reds.
Come on you Reds.